Coming up today, President Park Geunhye revels in the success of her state visit to Iran. She says the multi-billion-dollar deals agreed in Tehran can help the Korean economy take a leap forward. Korea's three parties are set for the opening of the 20th National Assembly as the main opposition Minju Party of Korea elects its new floor leader. First Korea begins a 4-day-long weekend. Parks, museums and amusement parks are expected to be packed with families as they celebrate Children's Day. Stay tuned for these stories and more. Hello to our viewers around the world. It's 6 a.m. on Thursday, May 5th here in Seoul. Thank you for joining us on this Children's Day in Korea. I'm Mark Broom. Our top story this morning, President Park Geun-hye says her recent state visit to Iran will provide Korea with some much-needed growth momentum. She says the visit could spark the second Middle East boom, a period of lucrative business deals with the region. Connie Kim starts us off.
Wrapping up President Park Geun-hye's state visit to Iran, the president said Seoul and Tehran were able to share a common view on forming a new cooperative relationship. She went on to say Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, Tehran's highest figure in religion and politics, showed special interest in Seoul's economic growth story.
이란의 지금 최고 목표는 어떻게 해서든지 경제 부흥을 하는 거다. 신념을 갖고 계세요. 그래서 자연히 우리 경제 발전할 때 여러 가지 경험이라든가 뭐 이런 부분에 대해서 더 자연히 얘기를 많이 나누고.
The president also pointed out it was worthwhile to help small and mid-sized Korean businesses through one-on-one consultations that had difficulty entering foreign markets. Over 900 consultation sessions took place, sealing record deals worth some $537 million. Referring to Seoul's past experience of boosting the Middle East economy in the 1970s, President Park said this was a chance to create a second Middle East boom.
제2의 중도 붐을 만들어 나갈 수가 있는데 이거를 통해서 우리의 수출도 회복하고 또 경제 재도약도 이룰 수 있는 그 모멘텀이 되도록 앞으로 계속 많이 챙겨 나가려고 합니다.
The Korean president and Iranian counterpart announced a total of 66 MOUs, including power plant and railway construction, with the deal amounting to some $37 billion for Seoul. Iran's opposition of any forms of nuclear development on the Korean peninsula was also one of the biggest achievements the president noted during her 3-day visit.
앞으로 이란하고도 한반도 비핵화 문제에 대해서 어떤 협력에 나갈 수 있는 그런 어떤 여지를 만들었다는 것이 또 하나 이번 방문의 의미가 아닐까 이렇게 생각을 합니다.
The president also emphasized that Korean culture could pave the way for cooperation in other fields, taking note of Iran's great potential after the lifting of sanctions that followed its landmark nuclear deal last year. Connie Kim, Arirang News.
Now, much of the focus is now shifted to the expected economic benefits the Iran visit will bring for Korean businesses. The presidential office expects the many MOUs inked during the trip to bring about tens of billions of dollars in new business opportunities, as we just heard. But our Kim Min-ji is going to take a closer look.
This sector expected to reap the biggest benefits from President Park Geun-hye's trip to Iran is construction. Tehran is closer to winning the Isfahan-Avaz railway project, worth over $5 billion, which will establish a 541-kilometer-long inland railway. On top of that, a consortium led by Daewoo E&C and Hyundai E&C is nearing a deal on a $2 billion oil refinery construction project with Iran's Bahman Geno company. Other Korean builders are also working to win orders for the construction of railways, airports, and energy facilities, thanks to the 59 economy-related MOUs that were inked during the trip.
Iran is planning to establish a plant worth some $200 billion over the next 5 years. Korea is expected to benefit in energy and petrochemical sectors thanks to its outstanding technology.
This is another one of the follow-on achievements from the president's trip. SK Group says it will expand its global partnerships in the energy, ICT, and infrastructure sectors with Iran. After talks in Tehran, SK agreed to boost cooperation with the national Iranian oil company and Saipa, Iran's second-largest auto manufacturer. Hyundai Motor is also seeking to enter the Iranian market, while Kia Motors has resumed exports of parts to a state-run auto company. An MOU on maritime transport and port development is also expected to give Korea's shipbuilders a much-needed shot in the arm, as they have been suffering from eye-watering losses. Through these and other efforts, bilateral trade between Korea and Iran, which dropped to about $6 billion after international sanctions were imposed, is also expected to pick up to pre-sanctions levels within the next few years. The Korean government has also vowed to set up a financing program worth some $25 billion for Korean companies working on infrastructure projects in Iran. However, as MOUs are not binding, the focus is now on whether they are fulfilled and, more importantly, to what degree, which is expected to become more apparent in the latter half of the year. Kim Min-ji, Arirang News.
Now, Korea's main political parties are busy preparing for the start of the 20th National Assembly, with the main opposition Minju Party of Korea selecting its floor leader on Wednesday. All three sides are now ready for the coming parliament. Shin Se-min reports.
Political parties scramble their ways to finalize their groundwork before the 20th National Assembly takes off on May 30th. Ruling Saenuri Party's new floor leader had already begun his political action on his first day on Wednesday, sitting down with the National Assembly Speaker and opposition party leaders. Stressing that the April's parliamentary election was a clear reminder of the public's will to have the ruling camp cooperate with the opposition parties, Saenuri Party's floor leader Chung Jin-seok promised to closely communicate with his opposition counterparts and handle parliamentary matters.
I vowed to our newly elected lawmakers that I will achieve cooperation and innovation in the party. I understand this is the will of the public.
On the other side of the aisle, the main opposition Minju Party of Korea elected its new floor leader. Third-term lawmaker Woo Sang-ho has been chosen as the floor leader of the Minju Party, which will be the largest political camp in the next parliament. The newly named leader first entered politics in 2000 under the late President Kim Dae-jung and also has a record of participating in students' movements during the 1980s.
Our party will work to regain the trust of the people and eventually succeed in changing the government in the coming presidential election.
The newly elected floor leader promised to make sure the general public understands the changes and difference the party wants to make in domestic politics. The 20th National Assembly is shaping up with all floor leadership positions of the three major political parties being filled. But it looks like there will be some intense negotiations in the upcoming days, especially when it comes down to deciding who the National Assembly Speaker will be, as well as the head post of the committees at the Parliament. Shin Se-min, Arirang News.
Now, latest satellite imagery shows that it's still unclear whether North Korea will carry out a widely speculated fifth nuclear test at this time. The US-based North Korea monitoring website 38 North said there is a very low level of activity at North Korea's Punggye-ri test site. Images taken on Monday show one small crate or trailer present immediately outside the North Portal, where 3 of the North's 4 nuclear tests took place. Other than that, there's no readily apparent activity such as vehicles or personnel present. The website says Pyongyang could have made all the necessary preparations for a test, or the pictures could show some maintenance work is taking place. Concerns have been mounting that the North could carry out another nuclear test as Kim Jong-un tries to further solidify his grip on power ahead of the regime's Workers' Party Congress this Friday. So, as we just heard, North Korea's ruling Workers' Party will hold its first party congress in more than 3.5 decades on Friday. Experts say the meeting will serve as a platform to cement Kim Jong-un's political status and reputation within the country. Kim Jong-soo reports.
By holding a Workers' Party Congress, North Korea is believed to have one goal in mind, exhibiting the uncontested might of leader Kim Jong-un to the surrounding world and declaring a new historic period with him in charge. The South Korean Unification Ministry says the biggest political convention in Pyongyang will finally enable Kim Jong-un to formalize his leadership after coming to power in late 2011.
We think that through this Congress, North Korea wants to showcase how the regime's socialist political system has reached its high stage of maturation, and also declare that it is officially unified under the leadership of Kim Jong-un.
The last party Congress was held 36 years ago during the reign of Kim Jong-un's grandfather and the country's founder, Kim Il-sung. The former leader used the event to publicly declare his son Kim Jong-il as his official successor. This Friday's Congress is expected to be largely a domestic event compared to the 6th Workers' Party Congress because of greater sanctions against the North following its nuclear missile provocations this year. The previous convention was attended by 117 delegates from 118 countries. More than 3,000 party members who are expected to attend the Congress have reportedly gathered in Pyongyang to visit the Kumsusan Palace of the Sun. Inside, Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il's bodies lie in glass coffins on display. Kim Jong-soo, Arirang News.
Now, tens of thousands of Koreans are grabbing the opportunity to take a short overseas break as the country begins a 4-day weekend today, with thousands more tourists flocking in from around the world, especially from China and Japan, as they have holidays as well. Korea's main gateway, Incheon International Airport, has been pretty much stretched to capacity since Wednesday afternoon. Now, last week, the government designated May 6th, Friday, as a temporary holiday, handing Koreans a 4-day weekend starting today, Children's Day. In Korea, traffic is expected to be congested from along a number of expressways over the holiday period, as well as the airport. The Transportation Ministry said traffic will be the heaviest on this Thursday and also Saturday. Entrance to parks, museums, palaces and other cultural facilities will be cheaper today, if not free, to enhance what should be an already pretty great day for families. So it is Children's Day here in Korea, a very special day of fun and excitement for kids of all ages. With lots of Koreans working long hours, though, it's also an opportunity for the entire family to spend some quality time together. And studies show that children who have more leisure time with their mother and father are generally happier and healthier. Lee Ji-won reports.
The national holiday of Children's Day in Korea encourages family time and making kids happy. But other than such special days, are kids spending enough time with their parents?
I help mom do her chores during the day and for about 3 to 4 hours before going to bed.
I spend about an average of 2 to 3 hours with my mom, but my father comes home late, so I don't get to spend much time with him.
According to a research by the Korea Clinical Gameplay Society and Association on over 500 elementary students nationwide, 34% of children say they spend practically no time with their parents, while 27% said they spend less than an hour every day with their parents. Surprisingly, only 38% said it's not enough time, 31% said it's okay, and 30% said it's enough. Experts say kids must spend time with their parents if they are to develop their own characteristics and acknowledge responsibilities in a social group. Spending time together, experts say, teaches children how to interact and cooperate with other people. But many Korean kids are not having that experience.
Korea's family culture is too focused on academics and education. If a child is in his or her senior year, the whole family focuses on sending the child to a university, and that is the only topic brought up at dinner. And like a workplace, the parents only ask if they studied or did their homework, checking upon their achievements. And naturally, this may lead to children avoiding conversation or spending time with their parents.
The expert said overzealous parents focus too much on education at the expense of quality time with their children. She added it will take a long effort to create a culture where parents spend more time with their kids. The expert suggested that parents and children should talk about what the children want instead of only talking about school and studies. This in turn could help relieve kids' stress while strengthening the bond between parents and their children. 이지원, Arirang News.
Now, US media outlets say Donald Trump's only remaining competitor for the Republican presidential nomination in the United States is suspending his campaign. The Ohio governor, John Kasich, has cancelled a scheduled media appearance and is due to make a statement right about now, in fact. It leaves the way clear for Donald Trump to secure the Republican nomination in the race for the White House. His likely opponent in the November election will be the Democratic frontrunner Hillary Clinton, who has an almost insurmountable lead over Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders. Well, that's all we have for now. I'm Mark Broom. Thank you as always for watching. We'll be back throughout the day with more newscasts. Our next scheduled bulletin coming up at 10 a.m. Korea time. So until then, goodbye.